On March 15th, two candidates will be running in the Republican primary to succeed Rick Catlin. Mr. Catlin chose not to run for re-election as the District 20 representative in the North Carolina House of Representatives. And we have both of those candidates with us today. They have been kind enough to join us. We have Tammy Cole, who is here with us. Tammy, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And Holly Grange, we appreciate you joining us as well, Holly. Thanks very much.
Thank you, my pleasure.
We're not going to put any kind of time restrictions on you today. We want to talk about some of the issues that, as I have seen it and as people have talked to me, and obviously I think people have talked to you about the big issues of this campaign so far. But before we get started, Holly, for people who don't know Holly Grange, tell the folks at home a little bit about yourself and why you're running for this seat.
Well, I am a wife of 28 years, a mother of 2 sons. I have 3 dogs. I'm a veteran. I am an involved member of the community. I have lived all over the world thanks to the United States Army. My family's a military family. My husband, my father, my father-in-law. My son is now serving. He's deployed overseas, defending our freedoms. I'm a graduate of the United States Military Academy, got my Bachelor of Science. I have a master's degree in systems management from the University of Southern California. And I have a law degree from Northern Illinois University College of Law. I have always believed in public service. That's why I'm running. From my time as an Army officer to my time as an Army spouse, to being an involved member of this community, I believe it's important to contribute to the community and not just merely stand back and be a bystander. Okay. I serve on many boards in North Carolina and locally, and I am an appointee to the North Carolina Ports Authority Board.
Okay, Holly, thanks. Tammy Cole, introduce yourself to folks who don't know who Tammy Cole is and why you got into this race.
Yes, I am also a mother. I'm married to my husband of 24 years, Tommy. He's a native Wilmingtonian. I'm also, I've lived in Wilmington for most of my life since I was a toddler. And so I have 4 beautiful children. We've raised our children here in New Hanover County. I also come from a family of military background. I have many family members, including my father, my father-in-law, grandparents, grandfathers. I also have a cousin who is currently an FBI special agent in the FBI, serving right now. Many people in my family are serving in the military, also public servants in the police force. So I come from a family of public servants, and I believe also that public service is extremely important. I am not a public or a military service, but I do believe it's important to serve in whatever calling that brings you to. And I have served for the past 4 years as a member of the New Hanover County School Board. I have spent the past 4 years and an additional probably 10 years in the New Hanover County school system working on my passion, which is education. I have done so because I believe in giving back to the community, and that is what I believe and what I have done to serve in my community.
Interestingly enough, in a primary, it's up to the voter to discern differences between people of the same parties. Tammy, I'm going to ask you the first question. You both describe yourselves on your websites as solid conservatives. Can you give me an idea of what you consider a solid conservative, Tammy?
I believe a conservative is not someone who is someone who lives it and doesn't speak it. Someone who not just talks the talk but walks the walk. We have too many people in public office these days who use the term conservatism, but when push comes to shove, does not stand on conservatism. We have a lot of, I've taken a lot of heat for standing on principled conservatism. The Republican Party has a platform upon which we, for the most part, agree. Now, I've stood for traditional marriage, as that is being defined as that between a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that the state voted on, and our lieutenant governor actually came out and made it an issue on when the courts ruled on it. So I took a lot of heat for standing for religious freedom, and so even when my own party sort of backtracked a little bit. So in my view, conservatism is not just believing in those values, but standing on those values, because I believe that having values are meaningless unless you're willing to stand on them.
Okay, Holly, what about you?
I believe as a conservative that we need small government. We need to have low taxes. We need to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars that our constituents work so hard to earn. I believe in the Constitution, both state and federal. I believe that we do not need to be regulated to the point where we cannot have the freedom to start a business, to run a business the way we would like to run it. We've got a lot of limitations placed on professions and businesses that cost a lot of money, and there are a lot of businesses that have suffered for that. I believe that it's basically smaller government and being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars.
Okay. You both tout endorsements fairly highly on your websites. Tammy, you tout an endorsement from Chris Millis, the state representative from District 16. Holly, you tout an endorsement from former Congressman Bill Kobe on your website. How important do you think, Holly, you answered this question first, how important do you consider endorsements, especially during a primary election?
I think that they are important, but I don't think they are exclusive in of themselves. I think that it's important to know that I have people supporting me. I've also received other endorsements besides Congressman Kobe's. I think people identify with certain organizations and they identify with certain people, and they're going to put weight on an endorsement. I think that the support that I'm receiving quietly from people is just as important as that people that are willing to come out publicly and endorse me.
Okay, what about you, Tammy? Endorsements, how important do you think they are?
I think it speaks volumes as to who you are and the character of the person that is endorsing you. I think it's interesting that Ms. Grange talks about believing in conservatism as smaller government when she has someone endorsing her who is a pro-Common Core person, and he is, Common Core is, for all intents and purposes, big government intervention. So it does speak volumes as to who you are, as who you would be as a candidate. It is important when you have someone endorsing you, and it tells the constituent the direction you may go as a candidate.
Okay. Tammy, one of the things you say on your website is that you want to keep Washington liberals from interfering in our daily lives. You say several things, but one I thought was interesting was interfering with our daily lives. So can you point to an example of how you think that's happening now and that you would work to try to stop from the state vantage point?
I think there are a lot of examples of government overreach right now, and to use Common Core as an example, Common Core is very much a federal government overreach. When the federal government is trying to control the curriculum of every state's public education system, it's a usurpation of the state's right to control the education system of its state. It defies the 10th Amendment of the Constitution. So, to me, that is a federal government overreach. Okay. That is something that I think is extremely important for people to understand.
What about you, Holly? Government overreach and liberals, again, to coin what Tammy was saying, keep Washington liberals from interfering with our daily lives. Do you have an example of how you think that's being done that you would try to fight?
Well, actually, interestingly enough, I have one of the same examples that Ms. Covil has brought up. I thought we were just talking issues. I didn't know this was a debate.
Well, we are, but I mean, we are talking
Common
issues.
Core,
so, okay.
I do not believe in a one-size-fits-all, top-down approach to education. I believe that education should be decentralized down to the local level. That is one example of where I believe that the government has overreached. Again, regulations are a way that the government has overreached, both at the federal level and at the state level.